overture at the beginning would actually be iconic, like with like little bits and snippets of like all of the songs throughout the whole album, and that wouldn't even be that hard because there are only 12 of them. I don't know, maybe I'm asking too much, maybe I'm reaching too far. Hello, the life of a showgirl rollout has been rolling, and so we have quite a lot to talk about. So I'm going to fix my nails while we go through just what we've received since we last spoke. We got a couple more album variants, the Tiny Champagne Bubbles variant, which was this red one, and people, I feel like it's maybe a hot take that I didn't love this one all that much. I think it's fine. I think that objectively the image is really pretty. Objectively the image is very nice, but there's also just something about the headpiece that's giving unicorn horn to me. I do like the Tiny Champagne Bubbles like kind of quote though. I think that's very cute. And then we got kind of the like the favorite variant, the Target one. The pink crowd is your king. Did you notice we're past the era of calling everything that's like any light shade of pink rose gold? We just called this pink, which I kind of appreciate. This front picture, not my favorite. I think it's mainly the angle. I don't think it's the outfit because like you don't even see that much of the outfit, and I don't think it's the color either. It's just like, it's this upward angle, and she's done that for like a lot of these photos, not a lot, just like a couple, and it's not been entirely my favorite thing, but I understand the perspective of looking up from the audience at the showgirl, the monster on the hill effect. You know, the color, the pink color is very, very pretty. The vinyl itself is very, very pretty, and the back is really, really pretty. I love this image, and I actually would have fought for this as a cover more than the actual Target vinyl cover. I just think this is really freaking pretty when you take the titles off of it. It's really gorgeous, and like the way her face is centered with the jewels from the headpiece dripping down and the feathers and the way she's looking off and her red lip. I wonder if like, I would love to see all of these like album cover images just by themselves, like no editing, no titles, anything, and see which one is my favorite. And I feel like I said this when I originally was talking about the album covers too. I wonder what it would look like if they just left it as the image, and I feel like that's a really common thing to do now. I feel like there are a lot of recent albums, and like it was a thing before recently too, to just have an album cover with like no words and it's just like a photo. But I find it can be very impactful, and I think it can really make for a really nice vinyl like to display. And so I have to wonder why she just didn't do that. I think she does have like an inherent like too much gene, as so many of my favorite people and myself do. And so I get like wanting to have a font, have an aesthetic, have a, you know, something in common through all the variants and all that. I get her last era was like supposedly like minimalistic, and so this one's supposed to be maximalistic, but I wonder how these photos could have been served better by just being presented in and of themselves, because she really is very hype about this photo shoot, and I can see why, for good reason. I just wonder, yeah, I wonder which ones would have been served better as album covers by not having any words. There were quite a lot. The Target variant drop released a lot in conjunction with it. There's that one video that she did that was very much like a one take of her talking about like how very glossy the pictures were and how much she loved the photo shoot, and she said this album was a look behind the curtain, but that the visuals were the epitome of the glossy, luxurious performance version of the showgirl that we see on stage. And it's just interesting the way she speaks in that video. She very rarely seems like she's thinking about what she's saying as she's saying it. I don't know, it's just interesting to watch. I don't feel like there's a lot of footage of Taylor, especially recently, being that way. And then there's the one, I really like the one where everyone likes the one where she's like directing herself and she's like, okay, we're gonna try it again. She's covered in cat hair, like, and she's like low-key like roasting herself as her own director. I find what she's wearing in the picture where, God, she's walking along this beautiful wall in this beautiful, like, what looks like a dressing room. And I wish they had
she can't have the photos from the photo shoot that she's still doing in the frames, and so they're all like edited in, and they just very much look like edited in. And in that case, I kind of just wish there'd been different pictures in those frames, like pictures from the Eras tour in like black and white, or just freaking empty, or just like unidentifiable old like Vegas showgirl-esque pictures. The freaking like, I don't even know what to call it, a bustier that she's wearing in this, and it's the same thing she's wearing when she's like tossing the glitter and being awkward in front of the Target vinyl, and it has this gigantic rhinestone on the front. It's so weird. It's so weird, and I don't like it. I really like the headpiece with the feather. I don't like, and she's holding this vinyl that like clearly like didn't exist at the time, and it's been edited in her hand. I just like, I can't stand this image. I like the idea of her outfit, but the more I look at like the actual bustier, and then I saw her move in it when she was like tossing glitter in front of the pink vinyl, I was like, oh no, it's not. I don't know. Please let me know what you think about this bustier. If anything, if you comment anything, let me know your thoughts about this outfit and this picture.
The megaphone is really a theme here. She has it here. There's a megaphone ornament. There was a megaphone in the Spotify pop-up. I'm guessing that was a very significant part of like the Eras tour that was like impactful and that she remembered. Did her choreographer have a megaphone, or does she have a megaphone, or both? Did everyone have a megaphone so they could communicate across the giant stage? I feel like we haven't seen like Taylor speak in so long that we forgot she's funny. Like Taylor's like funny and cute and like quirky in her own way. It's just nice to see like a little glimpse of that. I feel like she's just been so serious recently, and everything's been so serious. Even the engagement, it's been like, everything's just been so serious, and she's been such like a serious artist and a serious adult and a serious figure, and so seeing her be jokey, oh no, my light, I'm sure she wrote that, and like improv, and so that was, I don't know, that was nice. It made me very happy. This light's not gonna stay on, is it? We changed the angle so you guys can still see me better without that particular light. Welcome to this side of my room. I found the clip about Max and Sweden very insightful, where she was talking about how the Max Martin medley of surprise songs that she did while she was in Sweden over the Eras tour was not an Easter egg for this album, but it was a kind of acknowledgement and like a gratitude to Max because she really wanted to work with him again and knew that he was very busy, and they both knew that it would be a very big deal and very high stakes if they worked together again, and she was very proud of the songs that they had made together. And it was just so illuminating to hear that the #1 showgirl has people that she, sorry, Charlie found a toy, has people that she looks up to, and colleagues that she's interested in working with, and goals and wants, just like everyone else. I feel like the people that we think of as having everything, you don't think of them as having those kinds of feelings, but they absolutely do. It's also kind of a nice reminder that like she has her own thoughts and agenda in life, and while she does do a lot for the fans and in service of, you know, her career, her albums, etc., she kind of has her own agenda as well. I did get tickets to the release party at AMC. I will be attending I believe it's like the second showing at my local AMC, because when I tried to get tickets to the first showing, it kept crashing, and I didn't want to risk not being able to go on the first day. I will be going and reporting back swiftly after. What I gather is this is going to begin with the music video. There's probably going to be like a cute little intro, an overture, if you will. Maybe an overture would be really cool, because like a showgirl, a show, the way a show often starts is like an intro music, an entrance, an overture, and so that would be kind of cool. A freaking overture at the beginning would actually be iconic, like with like little bits and snippets of like all of the songs throughout the whole album, and that wouldn't even be that hard because there are only 12 of them. I don't know, maybe I'm asking too much, maybe I'm reaching too far, but it's going to start with that music video, and then it's going to be the lyric videos that typically go up on YouTube with every album, and then it's going to be commentary videos. I think they're probably going to be commentary videos that she filmed at the same time as these clips that we've already seen with her in the little director's chair and her hair back. I think that it's going to be those commentary videos just edited for horizontal. I'm hoping they're not just vertical and they're just not just like her like sliding in on the side of a big screen. And the album is 41 minutes long, and the runtime, if you look on AMC, of this release party movie is 89 minutes. So if you give like 2 minutes for intro and outro business, that's 46 minutes for commentary, which sounds like a lot, but when you divide it up, it's actually like a little bit less than 4 minutes per song, and that's more than we've gotten in a long time. So I'm not mad. I'm not mad at all. I have like a sneaking suspicion this is gonna be a flop though. I don't know why, but it was $12, and so like it's fine. Like I'm certain it's going to be worth $12. I just like, I don't know. I guess I'm hoping it'll be like more like worth 20. But like I think I'm expecting too much, and I have a sneaking suspicion people are gonna be like, that was it. Like, I don't know, but like I'm still gonna go. I'm still gonna have a fun time. We have 3 appearances on the books. We have Fallon, which was pre-recorded in the last couple days, Graham Norton, which has been recorded for weeks, and now Seth Meyers on the 8th, which I do not know when that was recorded. I think it was probably recorded in the last few days as well. But she is speaking, like literally for the first time since the Eras tour was announced. She has not like directly like talked at length like this, and I know that's what I said about the New Heights podcast, but it's true. And this is her talking about like her art and not just like bread. Not that the bread's not interesting, but like the art's my favorite thing. I'm interested in how all 3 of these appearances are going to differ, how much fluff and just kind of giving general vibes and promo of the album they're going to be, and how much, you know, little tea and chunks of fun facts and information about the album and the behind the scenes of it and her feelings about it, and the songs and the lyrics that we're actually going to get. There is a standby. If you look on the little like schedule that's been posted on Instagram, there is a standby on Saturday night, the 4th. And I would love to think SNL, but the guests that day are Doja Cat as the musical guest and then Bad Bunny as the host. And Doja just had her new album released, and so I think it would be really, I don't know, just like really weird and like not likely for her to like step in on that in some way. I think it would be like kind of a bad look. I think the standby is Popup somewhere at one of the theaters for the release party or a performance somewhere, because unfortunately it looks like all of these appearances have been pre-recorded, and I don't feel like, I was really hoping that we would get some performance with one of these appearances, but I feel like that's probably really unlikely if they're all pre-recorded, because then the possibility for leaks is really, really high. I do think if we do get a performance, it's probably gonna be the fate of Ophelia, but I don't know where or when that's gonna happen. That's like kind of the one thing I'm sort of at a loss for, is like when we're going to get any sort of live performance from this album, when the Showgirl is gonna show. If you haven't heard, the Tay Super Bowl mystery is solved. She will not be performing the halftime of the 2026 Super Bowl. Bad Bunny was announced to be the halftime performer, and so I'm like really hurting for when we're gonna see performance of this era. I also still think that our little like cookie or like extra thing with this album will be the tour documentary, and whether it comes out with the album, which I don't think it's going to, or like its announcement comes. Maybe, I don't think that's the standby. That would be kind of, maybe that's what it is. I think maybe it'll be like an announcement and then the actual tour doc will be a holiday affair. I think the announcement will come sometime around this album release, but there's like no better fit for this tour dot coming out than this album. And just from some things we've been seeing, I feel like she's making it very clear that this album is very tour centric. Like her being on tour is very much the heart of this album in some way. And so I really don't know when else she would release all of the footage that she had taken while she was on tour, unless she's just going to use that footage for like this release party and music videos, which would be really disappointing because we all really want a documentary, but I guess we'll see. This crew neck is ugly, you guys. This crew neck is so ugly, and you know, the back of it's even worse, the way the titles are written. It's so, I can feel the, like, if you got one of the Eras Tour shirts that had like the second logo with the Tortured Poets in the center on it, it's just very like plasticky. You can feel that like the decal's been like slapped on, and I can feel that in this crew neck already. And maybe once it's like worn in for like 20 years and the graphic starts to crack and fade, it'll be cute, but not now. Not now. Look at this girl. She's rocking it. The freaking, I don't know if this is a model or one of the Eras Tour dancers. I think it's one of her backup singers, because she has it like all dressed up with the fishnets and shit, but like we can do better. We can do better. And this cardigan, I really would have loved a blue and orange, a mix maybe. Like a blue with like orange accents, I think would have been cute. This glitter orange, I think she was hoping people would wear it in October, like going forward. It looks scratchy. I don't know if it's scratchy. It looks scratchy. Please let me know if it's scratchy. If it's soft, I'll be really excited. If it's soft, I will be pleasantly surprised. I feel like this vinyl box that we saw her have and that we saw at the pop-up is gonna be on offer, and then I feel like there's gonna be Christmas ornaments, and I feel like we saw one of them and it's like a bullhorn. No, we've really been slacking on the merch, you guys. It's been really bad. It's been really bad for a while, and I think we all know it. There were some gems from the Eras Tour, but it hasn't been great. It hasn't been great. I think this is the merch is really, I think, the low point of this rollout. But we go from a low point to a high point because we got writing credits, we got track lengths, and every single song is Taylor, Max Martin, and Shellback, except for Father Figure, which features George Michael, which pretty much tells us that Father Figure by George Michael has been sampled on this song. And I listened to it, and like I've been trying to like make my peace with Father Figure, the title, and like figure out how it's not weird. And I have to say, Father Figure by George Michael is a little bit of a weird song. I really like the backtrack, the instrumentation, and so if that's what she samples, I think that would be dope. I know the chorus is boppy. The lyrics give me a weird vibe though. Lyrics give me a weird vibe. And in terms of track lengths, Eldest Daughter is the longest song at 4 minutes and 6 seconds. And Wood is by far the shortest at 2 minutes and 30 seconds. And I have a predictive track rankings and like final thoughts on the tracks before we hear the video coming out, and so I'll save it. But Wood is the track I'm claiming because it just keeps pushing. Actually Romantic is very short too, but I actually think Actually Romantic is gonna be short in a How You Get the Girl way, and I think Wood is gonna be short in a I Look in People's Windows way, both within the scope of this album's vibe, of course. Because I talk about it a lot in the other video, I'm going to leave it there. But the tracks are all fairly concise and consistent for Taylor. I feel like they verge a little long, but not too long, because I feel like Max Martin wouldn't let her, but there's definitely like enough length in pretty much all of them to have quite a full song. And so it makes me happy that these are all, I feel like, gonna feel really fleshed out. I feel like Actually Romantic is gonna be really cutesy and repetitive, and so I feel like that's gonna be enough time. Wood is really the one I feel like there might not be a lot of repetition. I feel like it's teasing me. I could make a lot of jokes right now, but I'm not gonna. We also got lyrics. It's always such an exciting time when we get little tidbits and little lyrics. And it's so weird thinking back on the lyrics we got from Tortured Poets Department because they were so not central lyrics to like the songs you would think she would release lyrics from, but there were a lot of songs to choose from that album. So the lyrics that we've received either via the Spotify pop-up or via like letter capitalization in album lyrics on either Spotify or Apple Music are "Everyone's unbothered till they're not" from Eldest Daughter. It's giving Who's Afraid of Little Old Me. "Oftentimes it doesn't feel so glamorous to be me" from Elizabeth Taylor. It's giving like they're saying Elizabeth Taylor this, Elizabeth Taylor that. Did you hear? I bet if I can't believe she, and like she's just sitting there alone backstage, not feeling very glamorous at all. They don't make loyalty like they used to. It's giving Reputation. You're only as hot as your last hit, baby. It's giving like Folklore and Evermore a little bit. You want to take a skate on the ice inside my veins. It's giving 1989. It's giving Blank Space. And it's a little bit giving Reputation, but like the cheek of it is giving 1989 Blank Space. And that's very exciting to me. And I heard you calling. I wonder, did she hear him calling through the wood? Was she standing in the wood and she heard him calling? I'm falling into psychosis now. Other Easter eggs that we saw from the pop-up were "Keep It 100." That was written on a hand mirror, and she said that in the freaking New Heights podcast, and I hate that that was an Easter egg. And I feel like there's gonna be a lyric about her, like, what happens when you can't keep it 100? What happens when you can't keep it 100 all the time? What happens when you're only at 50%? What happens when that's the highest you can keep it? There's a Valentine's Day card. It says Happy Valentine's Day on the envelope, which is very, I don't know, Valentine's Day, people are weird about Valentine's Day, and people have a lot of just very emotional memories attached to Valentine's Day. And so I find that very interesting. And I would love to hear what happened on Valentine's Day while she was on the tour. There was a violin, which, while that could have just been there because it was backstage at the Eras tour because it was used, I think that's exciting because there was a rumor about a Swedish violinist working with Taylor. And so like heavy pop with a violin makes me very excited, and I think that could be really cool. And then when I listened to like the backtrack of Father Figure, there's actually like, it's very like synthy 80s, but there are like different instruments being incorporated. And so I find that prospect very exciting too. The reflection room with the bathtub, like the idea of the reflection room being somewhere that there's an actual like reflection pool to sit and stare into the reflections in the water, but also for it to be a place to decompress and reflect in the bathtub, in the shower. And it's all blue in that very kind of like bathwatery way, like the album cover. I also feel like the reflection room, maybe I'm just pulling this out of my ass, but I feel like that might have been a thing in Hamlet. And then finally, the Eras Tour stage silhouette is fucking everywhere. She's using it so repeatedly and really making it kind of like a central element of the imagery of this album. And that just really tells me, like I said before, that this is just a very being on tour centric album and about the feelings and life of living through that and having that be your day to day. And I think there's a lot to say, and I think she went through a lot, and I think that songwriting was her way to process that. And so here we are. And I'm really excited. So I will be back very, very soon with a predictive track ranking and just like final thoughts on the track list before it comes out. You guys will see that video very, very, very soon, if not in the same day as you see this one. And then I will be back after that with a first time reaction to The Life of a Showgirl by Taylor Swift. I'm so excited. Thank you guys so very much for being here, for watching, for entertaining my attempt at orange attire once again. Make sure to give it a like if you liked it, and subscribe if you want to come back on Friday and see my reaction to Life of a Showgirl and chit chat about it. I will also be posting a video after going to the release party and whatever else needs talking about from there on. So I will see you guys very, very soon. Thank you so much for being here once again. Mwah!